Hello everyone, welcome back to We Flip Cars. We're back at Aston Barclay car auction in Chelmsford. The idea of today's video is to show you how the cheaper end of the market is performing.
Yeah, so we're going to try and focus on budget cars ranging from about £1,000 to £2,000. We want to see if you can nick any bargains at auction if you've got that sort of budget. We'll break down the costs, we'll show you the fees around that sort of budget as well. So yeah, there looks like there's quite a few of them cars out there today, so let's get out and have a look.
Let's get shopping.
Little Fiat Panda.
Little Fiat Panda. You'd like to think this would be within the budget. This should be under £1,000, mate. Retails at £2,000. One former keeper. Nice miles. Clear report. Good
Yeah,
little
perfect
car.
little car
Yeah,
to flip,
1.1.
wasn't it?
Don't know if that colour's faded or if that started life that colour. Probably bring it up with a polish. But the bodywork looks straight as well.
They're so basic, aren't they?
They are basic, but they do still sell. That would be a popular little seller. 10 reg.
Let's have a look, see what it goes for.
Yeah.
Will be found in the 80s of March next year. Food countdown, champs down the DVD, 1 5 some 5 with 575, 5 on sale, 575 once. Sold 6 online, you do a half, TV 50, TV up trap, TV over the car, TV once, twice and gone.
Got a little Suzuki Jimny here, but this won't be as cheap as you think it'll be, mate. 61,000 miles, 2005, 2 former keepers. It's got a short MOT, and there's a couple of warning lights.
Yeah, so it's got a cap cleaner 2650, but a retail of 41.95.
Yeah, these are really popular. These make more money than you'd think. For a car that's nearly 20 years old, you'll be surprised at how much this is going to make.
2005.
They've got a real following, these.
What else we got down here? We've got a nice Nissan Qashqai on a 13 plate, 1108. Cap clean of £3,000. We want to try and find a bit more budget.
It's 90,000 miles, 1.6 petrol, so it's the best engine to have. 5 former keepers, could be a cheapie. But again, very popular car, so...
We'll keep our eye on it though, eh?
Yeah.
Bodywork looks pretty good.
Bodywork is pretty good, and it's a nice colour. Yeah, that's quite straight. Again, there's a little bit of lacquer there, but you probably live with that with the age of the vehicle. But we'll have a look. As I say, these are popular.
Although it's out of the £1,000 to £2,000, you might nick it for £2,000. What's the mileage on it?
90.
Yeah, so cap clean's £3,000, and it is pretty clean, so you'd expect it to go for near to that, wouldn't you? But it's still a budget car.
So why do you think that? 2 bit, 2 bit, 2 bit, 2 bit 1, 2 1, 2 1, 2 1, 2, 2, 2, 2 0, 2 2 4, 2 4, 2 4, 5, 2 5, 2 5, 2 5, 2 5, 6, 2 6, 2 6, 2 7, 2 6, 54, 2 7, 50, 7 50, 7 50, 7 50, 7 50, goes to roll, 1, 8 line, 2 8, 2 8, 2 8, 2 8, goes on line, you think you know, 2 8, 2 8, 2 8, 2 8, 15, 2 8, 15, 2 to 7, 2 8, 2 8, 15, get around once, 2 8, 15, twice, all done, sniper, 28.5.
Right, so this little Golf, this will be a cheapie. So this is a 2005 2 litre GT TDI. So this would be a nice car to drive. Diesel manual, It's got a long MOT round till next year, only 2 former keepers. Back in the day, these were really good news, and that would probably still drive really nice, but that would be good value.
What's the bodywork like?
The bodywork doesn't look too bad. It's a nice colour.
Any lack appeal? It's quite common on these.
No, it looks good. It does look pretty straight for the year. There's a little scuff on this side, but I'll probably polish.
Mate, that'd be a lovely car to flip. Probably want to get a little cap for the rear window wiper there.
Yeah, that will be a cheap car though. Once the headlights polishing.
A little scratch there. Probably mop that out. Look at the interior. That is clean. So if you've got a budget and you're looking for a little car to flip,
Something that will drive nice, something that will be semi-economical, quite nippy, little 2-litre GTR diesels.
Look what we got. We've got Fred next year, MOT, green and clean-ish. Come on, gents, what's it worth? 590. 5 in, 5 in, 500 pound per line, 500 pound per line, 50, 550, 556, 6 600 pound per 6. Goes to the hole, 600 pound per 6, similar ones, 6 for the right, 50. Come on, line, 650. Top sale, gents, 7 mid, 7 mid. Let's 700 pound per 7 mid, 7 mid, 7 mid. Get the other way, click it now, once, 7 mid, once, so we're done. To the hole, everyone. So, it's actually content.
1.6 C-Tech Focus, you can't go wrong with these. These are really good news. So it's a 2011 1.6 petrol Z-Tech, 69,000 miles, 1 former keeper, clear report. Being black does show up every mark, but I'm sure with an afternoon polishing that would come up really nice. All the wheels look good. You just can't go wrong with these 1.6 Z-Tech Fords.
so if you're looking to flip a car,
Yeah, that probably retails, did we look at it like 3 grand? So you'd hope to buy that for less than 2 grand?
yeah, you'd hope so. With the fees, obviously we'll break that down. When it goes through the hall, we'll show you what fees are for this sort of car.
And good news, mate, they just generally don't go wrong. Never had a problem selling them, very popular. Good little flipper.
Nice clean interior. See what it makes.
No problem. 50, what about you on that one? 50 on sale. Once 50 times 15, 50.
So here's a real cheapie. For
We've gone back in
2,000
time with this one.
we have, and I feel like that roof needs to, well, what would you do with that?
You'd have to repaint it or vinyl wrap it or live with it.
I feel like on an 03 plate car, a little 1.2, 113,000 miles, 3 former keepers, but it's got a clear report look. So I can imagine that's going to be a little bargain for someone.
That will be a little cheapie.
Obviously,
Old shape.
it's the old shape Corsa. It's as basic as they come. You're going to need to spend a bit of money doing it up because this wing mirror needs replacing. I'm sure there's plenty of them in the scrap yards around.
Tell you what though, back in the day, used to sell a lot of these. And like Liam says, plenty down the scrapyard, you can find all the bits for it.
And it's something like this, you wouldn't really need to bother because it's going to be something that someone wants to buy as a little cheapie. So, minimal prep.
200 on sale from the get-go. 200 cars on ones, 50, 250, 250 ones, 250 goes twice, so another 2.5.
2006 Peugeot 207, 1.4 petrol, 73,000 miles. On the report it says that there's a problem with the engine, so if you're a mechanically minded buyer, it could be a nice little project for you.
Yeah, I mean, just because it says engine doesn't mean that the engine's hanging out of it. It could just mean there's an engine management light.
Yeah, it could be something as simple as a switch or spark plug, anything along those lines. So that's going to be a reason for it to go really cheap, isn't it?
I think so, mate. Yeah, that would be a budget car, that one. And the bodywork doesn't look that bad, considering that's nearly 20 years old.
So we have our last car song, the mini mileage necessarily, so 2 services on. Warranted on the ones, 200 out. Go 50 pounds on the way. To the limit 10. To the limit 10, 200 out. To the limit bit. To the limit, to the limit, to the limit, to the limit. Take 50 pounds to the limit. 50, to the limit, one more. To the limit, 300. 3, this side, 300. 3, box twice, all done. 300.
Okay, so here we have a nice Peugeot 208, which is going to be a nice cheap little car for someone. As you can see, there's quite a bit of damage on that rear quarter.
Yeah, don't know if the dent man would get that. But again, for the age of the vehicle, would you bother?
Well, this is definitely going to be a nice budget car because it's the new shape.
Bit of a scrape there.
It's a little bit up on the miles. Alloy wheels need refurbing. The wheel's flat, but it's only flat at the bottom.
So it's a 1.4 diesel, it's done 95,000 miles. MOT till next year, 2 former keepers, clear report. So it has got a bit going for it. Just looks like the bodywork could do a bit of a tidy up.
Yeah, so it's going to be a nice little project for someone, isn't it? I think this side's alright, it's more of that passenger side over there.
Yeah, this side's been seen better days, but it's usable.
It's definitely fixable, and it's definitely a nice little project for someone.
208, popular little cars.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll include the cap price in here. Once it goes through the auction hall, we'll include the fees. Just break down and show you how much of a bargain you can get with this one.
1,000 bid, all day, £1,000, 1,000 bid, £1,000 on the mobile one, little bit, 12 bits in the whole lap. Let's have a remember it's over 12, over 12, over 12. There's a whole big then around 13, remember 13, 10 half to wait, so 14 on line, 50 roll, 14, 50 on line, 50 roll, 15, 16 roll, 16 bid, 15. 16, 50, 16, 17, 17, 50, 17, 50, 7 all the way, 18, 50, 18, 50, 18, once, 18, you're in, 19, what do you think, gents, 50, 1950 once, 1950, in the middle twice, 2, big 2, £2,000, 50, big 2, that's lower, once, 2, twice, sold up, in front, 250, continue to the next.
So everyone, we're back from the auction. Another late night for us. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing a few of the cheaper cars go through though. We've got 8 on our list. Probably only a couple of them we maybe would have bought for our own stock.
Yeah, a couple of nice bits. The Qashqai. What else would you say that we might have bought? 208?
Maybe the 208, maybe the Focus, but hopefully it gives you an idea of what you can buy at the auction for around £1,000 or £1,000 to £2,000.
Yeah, if you're looking at starting out in the trade or you're just looking for a budget car, you don't need to be a trader to go to auction. You can just be a member of the public. The fees are more expensive. So I'll just quickly break down the fees now. Depending on how many vehicles you buy per year, depends on the bracket in which you fall in terms of the fees. So 0 to 5 cars, which is your standard punters and someone who doesn't buy a lot of cars, is 0 to 5 cars. So let's say between £1,000 to £2,000, you're looking at about £335.92 plus the VAT. Yeah, so £335.92 plus the VAT is the fees of what we're looking at.
So if we run through them, so if we base it on that Panda, that sold for $650.
Yep.
So even with the fees, is that still under £1,000?
So it will just about creep under the grand, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just
See, that
about.
was a cheap little car because although they're quite old now and since the Fiat 500s have come into play, they're not as popular, but there's definitely still a market for those Fiat Pandas.
Yeah, there is. They're quite a reliable car.
Yeah.
Sensible mileage, and it looked like a nice clean car, really.
It did, yeah. And it was below cap, so the cap price on that was £800. So it sold for $650 plus the fees.
Yeah.
Surely that would have retailed at $1,995.
You would have thought so, because there's not many cheap budget cars around that are nice cars.
Under £2,000.
Yeah, especially with them sort of miles. So yeah, $1,995 all day long. So if it owed you £1,000 by the time you got it back.
Minimal prep.
Minimal prep.
Nice quick double up for someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. On to the Jimny. Now we know that they were popular. So that sold for 2,400 and the cap price on that was 2,650. But it gives a retail of 4,195. So
let's have a quick look at the fees on that. So 2.4 is going to be £389.21 plus the VAT.
Yeah, so it probably would still be under the £3,000 mark.
Yeah.
But it's creeping up there a bit, so that's going to owe you £3,000 with the fees. Retails at 4,195. You'd probably want a 3,995 it.
Yeah, to make sure it doesn't stay around for too long. 3,995.
But they are good sellers, those little Jimneys. As long as they're not covered in rot, they are good sellers.
And that was another good example.
Yeah, probably would have been a quick sale for someone, that one.
Just to quickly break down as well, so if you was to purchase that car as a trader and you was on the next bracket, it would go from 389.21 plus the VAT to 281.61 plus the VAT. So that's if you buy between 6 to 11 cars. So there's quite a big difference there. So there's £100 less. And then if you was to do that again, you'd knock it down into the intermediate bracket, 12 to 74 cars per year, which would come out at £240.33. So
yeah,
that's the bracket that we fall under. So that's what we would get.
Yeah.
If we was to purchase
so for us, if we was paying 240 on top of the 2.4, that would have made it a cheap car.
Yeah.
Same as with the Qashqai. So the Qashqai sold for 2,850. So our fees on that would have been just under 300 quid.
Our fees on that would have been £271.85 plus the
plus
VAT.
the VAT, yeah. So, and the cap clean was £3,000 and it was clean.
Yeah. And
that retails at 4,459. So for us, that would owe us just over the £3,000 mark.
But I'd probably want a 42.95. That maybe even free double.
Yeah.
Because it is the shape, the last of the old shape, and don't get me wrong, it looked like a nice car. Yeah,
it did. It was a 63 plate, and there's still over £1,000 profit in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the cheapest car of the night, that little Golf, it was old. It was an 05 or a 55 plate.
Yeah.
But it was a 2 litre diesel GTI. They sold for 700 quid and it retailed at 2,595.
To be honest, I think you'd probably make over £2,000 for it. Being a Golf, they're so popular.
I think worst ways if you had to 1995 it, so 700 quid plus your fees.
£700 plus your fees. So your fees for that is just a standard punter going in there to buy a car. You're looking at £244 plus the VAT.
Yeah, so it's going to owe you under £1,000. It had a few little bits around it, but it was...
all in all, it was a good little car.
I think for the year, it was saleable as it was.
The bodywork was almost amazing.
Yeah.
There was a tiny little scratch on the rear door, driver's side rear door. Other than that, it was in really good condition.
That would have been a nice little quick flip. And even though it was an old car, getting on for 20 years old, you know that would have just drove home nice.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Volkswagen engines, 2 litre diesel, would have been a really reliable car.
Mm. Another cheapie, again, not one for us, but just to show you how cheap some of these cars can be, was the black 207.
Yep, so the black Peugeot 207. A little bit bitty, being black, showing up all of the little...
Yeah, but you could polish those and touch them up.
Yeah.
It was quite straight, it wasn't all dented,
no,
it wasn't all scraped, just had a few little marks around it.
A few blemishes that needed mopping, but the amount of money that you could have won that for, £300. Whether that did definitely sell or not, I'm not 100% sure. Whether that was a provisional or if it...
Yeah, but that's the sort of car that you might have to come up another 50 quid or 100 quid, but they wouldn't have wanted to put that through again. You would have ended up owning that.
Yeah, I think you're right. You'd had a negotiation there, probably paid, like you say, another 50 quid. So 350 say, plus the fees, £163.92. That's a really cheap car.
Well, we've got it down as a retail of £2,000. Maybe a little bit optimistic.
14.95.
14.95. Still a nice little profit in it.
Yeah, really nice bit of profit in that.
Banger of the night, the little Corsa, the little 03 plate Corsa.
Yeah, now that was a banger. Had no reserve on that, as they said when it come through. So they was pretty looking to sell that, weren't they? Yeah.
And it was such a piece of shit. They couldn't even give a cap or a retail recommendation on it. It was just too old.
So old, high mileage, but it sold for 250 quid. The fees on that would have been £123.57 plus the VAT. So it would have owed you about 400 quid.
Drive it home for 400 quid.
Drive it home for 400 quid. Try and sell it for 995.
Someone would buy that as a little 995. They do that for their little takeaway deliveries,
Yeah.
little nipping around.
Yeah, until it blew up and then you go again. So there's always a buyer out there for any vehicle. So
Yeah, there's a bum for every seat.
exactly that.
Focus. Now this is one we probably would have bought for our own stock, to be fair, because it was sensible miles. A little bit old. Was it a 60 or 61?
60 plate, 60 reg. A little bit old for us if we're being completely honest.
Yeah, but we do always sell a Ford, especially
do.
Focuses. People do like them.
Yeah.
And it sold for $1,550 and it give a retail 3,295.
So let's have a quick look at the fees on that one. 1550. That'd have been £332.89 plus the VAT. So you're looking at about 370.
Again, it's going to owe you under £2,000. Didn't need a lot doing to it. Again, being black, it did need a good polish.
Good mop, yep.
Yeah, get round a few bits, but that would sell if you got that back and that drove okay, which it would because it's a 1.6 Ford,
Yeah.
1.6 E-Tech. They're just good news. They're
They
really reliable. If you got that back and put 2,995 in that would sell.
It would sell. It would definitely sell. Like I say, it's just another example of a little bargain that you could have.
Definitely, mate.
Buying down at Aston Barclay. Finally, we've got the pink colour Peugeot 208.
Well, hey.
It was a little bit dear, that one.
Yeah,
I was
that.
expecting it to go for a lot cheaper.
Yeah, we've put two cap prices on this because it had those dents on it. So if it was clean, it gave a cap price of 1,950, and we put an average price of 1,525 just to allow for those dents that were on it. But that sold for 2,050, so it even went above the cap clean price.
Yeah.
That was expensive, that car.
Quite surprising with the damage. It was,
Yeah.
It was quite surprising, but I feel like there was maybe a private buyer in there
Possibly.
who was looking to buy
Possibly
it
a
for
girl
themselves.
that liked the colour.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there was. I didn't actually see who it was who bought it, but to go for that price, it must be a private buyer.
Really needed that whole side attending to,
Yeah.
and probably painting.
Yeah.
Probably not the nicest colour to mix
Try
and
and match that pink colour. I think you would have really struggled. It would have, yeah, it would have been a bit of a job doing that. But
I mean, it gave a retail 3,595, so
2,050. You'd have your fees of 376.60 plus the VAT.
£2,500 ish.
Around
But then
about
you got to
2,500
paint it.
grand.
There might be 500 quid in it for someone. So for us in the trade, probably not one we would have bought. Like Liam says, probably a private buyer has bought that
Yeah.
on the night.
So yeah, definitely a few bargains there. Some really cheap cars.
Really
nice,
cheap.
nice,
cars.
good for the price bracket. There was actually some really good little cars.
Yeah, there was.
I was quite surprised. We went there solely focused to find some little bargains, some budget cars, just to try and give an insight into what sort of vehicles you can get at a budget at auction.
Yeah. And we only picked 8 out of loads.
Yeah, there was a lot that went through.
So we hope you enjoyed the video. Something a little bit different this week on the budget cars. Takes us back to our roots, to be fair, where we first started.
Yeah, it really does. You've always got to start somewhere. We definitely both started off with them budget cars at the beginning, and it's good to see. It is really good to see that you can still start off in the motor trade if you want to with the budget cars.
Definitely, mate.
So
Yeah.
if you did enjoy the video, let us know in the comment section if you'd like to see more budget cars going through, to see what options you have if you are looking to start in the car trade yourself, or if you're a private buyer looking to buy a private car for auction. Let us know in the comments and we'll definitely be filming more of that for you. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It's completely free and we really enjoy making these videos. So we'll see you again soon.